empty hearts and neon lights.
Here we go. So this is my all-time Jamie Carragher 11. Obviously the rules imply that no player can have played for the same team or come from the same nation, so that's what made it quite tricky for me in particular. Starting off in goal, I think, is a bit of a no-brainer for me. I grew up watching Oliver Kahn quite a lot, and he was one of Bayern's best and standout players, captained the team on numerous occasions, played over 400 times for the Germans, won the 96 Euros, won the European Cup in 2001 against Valencia. Was a bit mad, a bit crazy, renowned for his penalty saves, but solid in goal until the latter stages of his career. So I went with Oliver Kahn in the number one spot.
So my team, otherwise known as the winning team from Carragher's 11, was hard to choose, you know, because we've got this this criteria to choose from whereby a player couldn't have played for the same country or the same team. So it made it difficult, but we got by in the end. So starting in goal, I went for Oliver Kahn. It was a pretty easy choice really, because growing up playing in goal as well, it's you see loads of great keepers, Schmeichel, you see Van der Sar, you see Buffon, but Oliver Kahn is just one of these keepers that strikes you as awesome. You know, his presence in goal, the way he threw himself about, the saves he made, it was fantastic. And I particularly remember watching the 2002 World Cup in South Korea, where he was phenomenal and he was mad, absolutely mad, but some of the saves he made and the way he commanded that German defence was just outstanding, and it shaped the way I wanted to be a keeper. So for me, it was always going to be Oliver Kahn in goal.
This is my Carragher's 11. The criteria were quite hard to meet, but nevertheless we got it done. So in goal I went with Iker Casillas. At the age of 19 he played for Real Madrid in goal in the Champions League final and won it. And in his first 3 seasons as a Real Madrid goalkeeper he won a league and 2 Champions League finals. So from then on he went on to being one of the best keepers in the world, if not the best, and even won a World Cup for Spain and 2 European Championships.
I've then gone for a solid back four, starting at left back with probably the best left back that's ever played football, Brazilian Roberto Carlos. Made his trade at Real Madrid, won World Cups, league titles, European Cups, got an absolutely lethal left foot from free kicks. Also famous for that goal he scored in France '98, which bent from the outside of the wall back in, that famous free kick. Centre back, I had to go for Paolo Maldini as well, another inspiration to me growing up as a centre half, the best Italian defender I think I've ever seen play live. One club man really for AC Milan, won about 7 league titles, 5 Champions Leagues over the course of many years for them. Ball at his feet, one of the best, and quality when it comes to the ball between 2 players. My other centre half is relatively new, he still plays football, he's 28, Koulibaly, plays for Napoli, product of the Genk Academy. He will be probably one of the best defenders of his era if he probably moves to a better team than he's at now. We'll see what happens with him in the summer. And at right back I was struggling for options based on the potential clashes that there were with clubs and nationality, so I've gone for Polish right back Lukas Piszczek, who used to play for, or still does play for, Borussia Dortmund. He was pivotal in Jurgen Klopp's team that won the 2010 league, and then the league after that, narrowly missing out in the 2013 Champions League final against Bayern. But he was a quality attacking fullback.
So in defence, I went for 3 centre backs as opposed to a flat back 4, because I went for quite an attacking team, to be honest, and you'll see that later on in the way that I position my outfield in a very attacking formation. So that left me with 3 at the back. But the three defenders I went for, I consider to be 3 of the best defenders of all time. So I start with Vincent Kompany. So Vincent Kompany for me is one of the best, purely because of the way he was the catalyst for Man City, the way that he changed everything for them, and he made them into the team that they currently are. You know, he propelled them to leagues, he got them where they are in terms of being a force in Europe, and he's one of the best in the way he commanded that defence. He organised everything, and even as a goal scorer, he scored such important goals. And even as a United fan, thinking back to that goal he scored against us to clinch them that league, you think what a difference a defender can have. He's that man that could make that difference. So alongside Vincent Kompany, I have Diego Godin, who essentially does the same thing as Vincent Kompany does for City, but for Atletico Madrid. You know, I talk about some South American defenders, and he's up there with the top ones of all of them. He's got that presence about him. He's got that flair as a defender that he wants, and he can tackle, he can organise, he can get a header in. Phenomenal player, so he had to go in. And on the other side was one who I've always considered to be quite underrated. Growing up, I was a big fan of Valencia, and Marchena was just another one that I think back to that time when they won the league back in 2001, and I think Marchena was one of the standout players from that team, because you know him as an all-round defender, their defence was so well organised and well designed, and that was mainly down to him and the way that he worked together with his back four, and even as a Spanish national player, phenomenal. Can't fault him. So Marchena had to go in there.
So now on to the defenders. I went with a back four. At right back I've got Lauren from the Invincibles at Arsenal. He pretty much played anywhere on the defence, to be honest. He's an integral part at the Arsenal Invincible campaign, and he played at left back, right back, centre back, wherever he needed to play. Then at centre back I went with Maldini. There's nothing to be said there, like he was the best centre back in the world, and if he ever put a foot wrong, I went with the pacey Davison Sanchez. And at left back I went with Ian Hart, which was one of the Premier League's finest left backs, and helped Leeds get to the semi-final of the Champions League.
I've then gone for a midfield three with one holding midfield in particular, Roy Keane. Even though I'm a Liverpool fan, it hurts me to say that Roy Keane is probably one of the best defensive midfielders that the Premier League's ever seen. Ireland national, won 7 leagues for Man United, also one of the most instrumental players in their 99 League Cup treble success from the Ferguson team. On either side of Roy Keane I've gone for Steven Gerrard, who's obviously one of the best English players to ever play football, and Liverpool's probably all-time best player that I grew up watching since I was young. The one club man, Mr. LFC, over 500 appearances, the whole Istanbul comeback, unlucky not to win the Premier League but won everything else for Liverpool. Part of the golden generation as well of England players that were unfortunate not to win anything. And then on the other side of my midfield three I've gone for David Silva, Spain international, who's probably one of the most influential players Man City's ever had, and has been a part of all their league title wins since their kind of own change of ownership with the Arab owners coming in. Won the World Cup, European Championships as well, and I think probably one of the most underrated Spanish players that has ever played in the Premier League so far. I would go to say the best ever Spanish player that's played in the Premier League.
So on to midfield, because I went for such a bare defence, because I only had the 3 centre-backs, I decided to go for a defensive midfield player who I thought would shore up the back line. And for me, there was always one player that really epitomised this position, this defensive midfield position, the Italian maestro Daniele Rossi. He was outstanding in this position, the way he controlled the back line and was able to work from the back, and he could defend, he could attack, but he was always there. He was that guy that was always sort of in that position, and you knew you could rely on him. Difficult guy to get past, so you know, the Rossi goes right in there at defensive midfield. On the left side, I went for possibly the best player in the world. Went for Leo Messi. It goes without saying, the guy's got to go in. It's the kind of player that can do anything. You know, put him anywhere on the pitch and can do a job for you. But Leo Messi is the greatest footballer I've ever seen, so he has to go on the team. Worked wonders on the pitch, continues to work wonders on the pitch. There was no way he wasn't getting into this team, so Messi's in there. On the other side, I went for another player who is possibly the only player in today's game that I think has the potential to go beyond or even equate to what Messi and Ronaldo have done, which is Kylian Mbappe. So he's got the pace, he's got the finesse, he's got the ability, and the way that he's going, he's already become a world-class player. He's got to make the team, so he's going on the other side. So I've got phenomenal talent on either side, and through the middle, just in front of De Rossi, I've gone for someone who many would consider to be underrated, and someone who really never really made it to the top in terms of club football, because he stayed with Lyon, and that's boded well for me because I've been able to put him in the team. Is Brazilian free kick specialist Juninho. I mean, some of the free kicks that I've seen this guy do, they defy the laws of physics, how he can get the ball in from certain areas of the pitch. Phenomenal player, and there was no way I was not going to put him in. There's someone who has to take a free kick on the pitch. Juninho can take it, but then again, so could Messi, so could a few other players. But Juninho goes in.
So now onto the midfield. I went for a 4-man midfield. At centre mid I got Steven Gerrard, which is probably England's best centre mid and Liverpool's best ever captain. Alongside him, Paolo Nedved, played for Juve. Again, another really good centre mid. At right mid I've got Leo Messi, which enough is said with him. Like, he's the best player that's ever played football, to be honest. And on the left wing I have Ryan Giggs, which has been amazing for Manchester in the Premier League and has played till he was like 40. So I think it's a very solid midfield.
And then my front three will include obviously 2 wide players and 1 central striker, 1 big man to hold up the ball. On the left side I've gone for Kylian Mbappe, 21-year-old, who's kind of tearing it apart really for PSG. Got 51 goals and 49 appearances, something silly like that. Made a massive impact for France at the last World Cup, scoring in the final. He'll probably go on to win multiple Ballon d'Ors and be the next generation of great footballers. In the middle of the front three, Didier Drogba, the target man for me. 2004, when he was brought into Chelsea for Mourinho, he kind of took the Premier League by storm and he was unplayable for most defenders. Shame he never really went on to win anything for the Ivory Coast, but I think that had a lot to do with the players that were around him. But with Chelsea, won multiple leagues, scored that goal in the final against Bayern Munich of the Champions League that they went on to win the penalty shootout. So yeah, he's definitely one player that I remember in particular quite fondly. And then on the right hand side of my attacking three, you can't go look any further really than Leo Messi as the best player of all time, I think. The one club man, over 400 appearances and 400 goals for Barcelona, 10 league titles, 4 Champions League, 6 Ballon d'Ors, the best player of my generation in particular. So that's my all-time 11.
So on to my attacking line, that I'm possibly most excited about in this team, purely because it's so talented. So I've gone for 3 attackers. I've gone with Andrei Shevchenko, first of all, who for me was the epitome of the striker. Watching him going up and watching him do the stuff he used to do for AC Milan, and just watching how easily he could put the ball in the net, and the lack of effort he seemed to have to put in to score as many goals as he did, and the way that he would be in the right position at the right time. Phenomenal. He was this guy, you just associate him with scoring goals, particularly in the Champions League, and thinking back, it was number one. It was a shame he didn't really do much for Chelsea, but as a striker for AC Milan, top. There's no one I would put above him in that respect. So Shevchenko had to go in. On the other side, had to fit someone in, so only went for the Premier League top scorer of all time, Alan Shearer. Another guy that you just think goals. When you think about Alan Shearer, you think goals. You think about the Premier League and growing up, I started watching football properly about 97, 98, and at that time he was with Newcastle, and I just think every time he had the ball, or every time Newcastle scored a goal, Alan Shearer, every single time. And then looking back on the history of it, even at Blackburn, he was their goal scorer. He would always score goals. So I want goals in my team. Alan Shearer, he's got to go in. Shame United never got him. And lastly, I had to save the best for last, Cristiano Ronaldo. I had to go in. There's no two ways about it. Cristiano Ronaldo was the first name on my list. The way he transformed from a player at Sporting, when United brought him in. I remember his first season with us. I was in two minds thinking, well, what kind of player is this going to be? But then you saw glimpses of the potential talent that he had, and watching him progress the next season and onwards, he became a superstar. He came out of this world. I remember in particular the goal that he scored against Portsmouth, and I just remember watching, telling my dad, this is going in. I wasn't braced for how he was going to put that ball in the net. So it epitomized everything about Cristiano Ronaldo for me. That guy was a goal scorer, could drive forward, he could get the ball from A to B and then into the net. Cristiano Ronaldo had to be there. He's in my team, the winning team.
So on to the forwards now. I went with two strikers, and that is Robert Lewandowski and Kylian Mbappe. Lewandowski has got goals for fun in both the Champions League and Bundesliga for both Dortmund and Bayern Munich, so he's a very prolific goal scorer. And Kylian Mbappe, which is very pacey, strong, and also can score goals. He's going to be probably the best player in the world soon. And that is my Carragher's 11.